Hello everybody, Manithral here, and welcome to the weekly update video for RS3. Now this week we have yet another Ninja Strike. But this one has some pretty good news if you ask me, because there was some stuff about the wilderness that kind of didn't make sense when it happened. But up first, before we get into the patch notes that we should delve into the Ninja Strike, we have the developer Emma, so Animite Dead and FSA or FSOA. So, for those who aren't familiar, that's the Fractured Staff of Armadyl. There is going to be some upcoming balance changes in the works for the Animated Dead and the Fractured Staff of Armadyl next month. So they want to talk to people about it. So on Thursday, 4 p.m. game time, they'll be dropping a detailed post on Reddit outlining these changes. So why they're making them and what they're trying to do. So they are inviting all players to join them in the thread to ask Mod Sponge your questions on these changes and get your people's initial thoughts on where they're going with it. Mod Sponge will be joining from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. game time to answer questions. If you can't make it, don't worry, they will be responding to questions periodically throughout the rest of Thursday and on Friday too. So I have a feeling there's a bit more coming with this than the traditional nerf. There's going to be, sounds like a bit more transparency. But also on Wednesday, March 15th at 1700 game time, there is a Murder on the Border stream, which is the new quest coming out here pretty soon. Then we have the Treasure Hunter calendar, which is the start of March 14th and ends 15th, which you got Mysteria. And then the 16th through the 22nd, which is a Hall of the Heralds, which is going to include a new Herald outfit. So kind of tie it into the 4 and 3. And then we go into the patch notes. So the new threat system has been removed from the wilderness. And I do agree with this move. Because the threat system in itself basically only punished low-level players. Yes, some low-level players do PK other low-level players or PvP other low-level players. But what I believe should actually be done here is to incentivize people, make it worthwhile enabling PvP, and then, having people go out into PvP that way. But currently that is not being done yet, but they did say there was going to be more changes throughout the year. But I do believe if there is an incentive for people to toggle on PvP, people do it. Even if it's increasing the XP gained while it's on, or creatures drop better loot, etc., or more plentiful loot, just something. But the PVM aspect, it was just basically punishing low-level players and just annoying high-level players. It didn't really do anything to high-level players. It just was an inconvenience, and it was just basically inconvenient for the sake of being inconvenient for high levels. It was just that. It didn't do anything. It was just an annoyance. And that's not a good mechanic. It was just annoyance. The Curse Wisp system has been removed, so Curse Energy will be automatically converted on June 5th and is untradeable. So they say that they chose to remove the threat system rather than continue to force a zero force zone to be dangerous. So a lot of the content in the wilderness overlay the rewarding because of the danger that's supposed to be there. So most of this content is easy to fix, they say. But Cursed Whips are an important exception for two reasons. The first is they only exist as an intentionally overpowered option to incentivize PvP. Without PvP, they don't otherwise enrich the game mechanics and enable more diverse training. So this is one thing I think they did a kind of a knee-jerk reaction. They should have left that in there and then made reasons for people to want to enter PvP mode. They added a 15-minute world lock to receiving a reward bag from Wilderness Flash events, so generic bags now give out a reduced necronium salvage. Special bags have had a major overhaul when it comes to rewards. This includes less chance of Dragon Rider boots, gloves, reduced salvage, and vastly increased chance of getting dark cores. Completing a wilderness event with full inventory and bank will now star the rewards in the temporary inventory within the wilderness event host NPCs. These rewards are lost if not claimed before logging out and can't be recovered. So do claim your rewards if you were to get one. They updated the map names within the wilderness dungeon. Erskine will no longer offer Slayer contracts for fire giants. Campfires are now present in the Wyvern area south of the Frozen Waste Plateau. Chronozon now has a proper defeat animation when killed inside the Dominion Tower. Ripper demons will now correctly use their special attack. Various monsters have changed locations in the wilderness, so some of them are right next to each other overlapping. You can now only interact with warbands and related content if you have PvP toggled on. See, that is a good thing to be doing. Make things rewarding for PvP. Give a reason to have PvP. Items related to the threat system have lost their effect, become untradeable, and now can be high out. Mandra's completion reward box has been reduced in value. The task weighting of Mandrith has been changed to favor Berserk/Ash demons. Brawling gloves no longer function based on the wilderness level you are in, and now boost XP rate by the base amount. And brawling gloves are no longer obtainable outside of the wilderness. Maybe make it so PvP only accessible. Charming Moss Hunter and Agility XP has been reduced, but the demonic skull bonus to Charming Moss have been increased from 20% to 40%. That's a good way. The safes around the Rogue's Castle have been period increased from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. Bloodwood trees in the wilderness now offer no additional benefit compared to Bloodwood trees outside of the wilderness. All Bloodwood trees are now buffed by upgrading the Infernal Puzzle Box. The Demonic Skull now works from the inventory. Calgarians in the wilderness are now aggressive. In general, before the raid with gather ranks and during the Aid of the Marquee, players with the NPC attack option set to hidden will receive a reminder to change it. Players opening their bank while it contains a lot of the farm animals will no longer crash their client. Instead, players in this state will have additional tooltip information disabled in their bank until they reduce the number of stored animals. Added a warning box explaining why you can't equip a particular title on mobile. Footprints during the tourist trap are now clearly visible. Fix an issue causing Hellweir's drops to disappear under the grassy area. Improve the lighting in the Rogue's Castle safe cracking room. Players can now toggle whether targeted movement abilities target scenery, and this can be done in the targeting section under combat and action bar category of these settings. This currently applies to bladed dive and dive. Players will receive super restores once more whenever Grill Susaroth drops the Damrock Bruise. An issue arose where players could become invisible when using dive with certain rest animations. As a result, players can no longer use dive or bladed dive when resting. I've seen people saying like, "Oh, players are just having fun and they have to remove that." It's just like, it's a big issue if you could become invisible in a game. Players will now be collecting multiple resources during the FG Incubator activity, both while collecting items by clicking on them or by using the looting interface. Lighting the Ripper Demon Cave was adjusted so players can notice hostile NPCs without issues. Improved lighting within the Softened Slayer dungeon. Improve the colors of the Pirate's Hideout building when the textures are turned off. Improve the colors of the Rogue's Castle building when the textures are turned off. The wiki search command now works with both upper and lowercase letters. Fixed an issue where the Wilderness Chaos altar in the southern part of the wilderness was missing its offer bones and ashes option. Clarified the wording of the Aftermath start point and quest journal objectives to make it clear that you need to speak to Adrastia in the White Cat Knight's Castle library. This is to accommodate players who have completed Succession prior to completing Aftermath. Fix an issue where one of the driven underground achievements requirements was not visible on mobile devices. Players can no longer unlock pet variants in the Yak Coin shop for pets they don't own yet. As an address quest is now one of the City of Synthesis quest requirements, Bill can now tell players which tier of the Fort 4 and 3 buildings is currently at. Then we go into the community showcase. First up, I seen this on Twitter or something like that from ACPL. Absolutely amazing artwork of the Crypt Bloom armor with the fractured staff, it looks like. Then we have a pretty cool looking staff of Zamrock here from N3 Zula. That has a pretty awesome looking staff. A slight little comic here. Knock knock. Rather than just saying out loud, maybe I should actually just knock. That is by Trivik understanding the power of using their voice. And that's pretty cool. RuneTube, fortunately, the images are not appearing. But Cathar continues his desert-only Iron Man adventures and stares into the abyss that is 80 mining grind. And Wazi RS, working on his collection logs, hits an amazing streak. Then we go into some Scaper screenshots. One first up here with occasional arc. Just enjoying the Falador Park there. And then Dark Winks, and having an interesting moment near the needle. Then we had the Pink Skirts events, which are always welcome, and I strongly encourage people to go to. First up, we have Gregor Vic, hosted by Mercy and Helpscape, Wednesday, March 15th at 1200 Game Time, World 35, the Heart of Gillinor's Sliskate Lobby. FC is Helpscape. And then we have Next Angel of Death, hosted by Spotly, Welcome Next Aodamus. This will be Friday, March 17th at 2300 Game Time, World 92, God Wars Dungeon, Ancient Prison, and the FC is the Next Aodamus. And that is it for this week, but do expect the quest next week, which should start the whole quest line with that. So this month we're seeing the new quest. I would say within another month or two we'll probably start seeing stuff pop up about necromancy. So until then, thank you guys so much for watching. Till next time. Later, guys.